Hello friends, welcome to your own YouTube channel Achievers Data Engineering. My name is Gyanendra and this is part 5 of Power BI Beginner to Pro crash course. So if you're following along to this tutorial series, in previous videos we have installed Power BI and imported some data into it using Excel files. So in this part of Power BI course we are going to get into the data transformation. So obviously we are going to touch upon the basic things as of now, and gradually once we will move on we will get into some detailed and advanced reviews of data transformations. So without further delay, let's get started. Alright guys, so now we are into the Power BI report in which we imported some data using Excel file in our previous video. And if you have noticed that we have got these three tables: orders, people and returns. Now in orders table we had got all the column names, but in case of people and returns table there were we didn't get the column headers name. Instead it says column 1 and column 2. Now we can go ahead and fix this using transforming data in Power BI. Now there are multiple ways through which we can jump into query editor mode. So if you would have noticed, when we imported, when we were in process of importing data, we used to get that option. For example, if I select this orders, I can directly jump into transforming data. Or if I have already imported data into Power BI anytime, I can go ahead and click on transform data. That will lead us towards the Power Query Editor window. Alright, so just let's click on transform data. Now you would notice that Power BI has opened a new window. You can see here in the background there was a report view, but now it has opened a new window, says Power Query Editor. Alright, so now when we are in the Power Query Editor window, there is a lot of options, there is a lot of things that we can do. There are many options to transform data. Let's talk about them one by one, and for now we will stick to the basics so that it will not overwhelm you, and I don't want you to download a lot of information in a single video. Alright, so let's start with the applied steps. Now into the Power BI, any steps or any transformation that we will be doing in this Power Query Editor window, everything will be noted by Power BI. So for example, I just want to go ahead and change its data type. We'll talk about data types in just a couple of seconds. You would notice that it has added one step over here, right? So any transformation XY, any transformation that we are going to do, everything will be noted here. And in the future, whenever data will be refreshed or we will get new data in the same format, Power BI will go ahead and rerun all the steps again on that new data, so that at the end we will get the data, we will get the format of data that we wanted, right? Alright, so let's start with the home ribbon first. So on the home ribbon you would notice we have some similar options like getting any new data source, selecting any recent data, or entering data manually maybe, right? Now let's talk about the option that says data source setting. Now if you will go into data source setting, there are some options that you can see here. It says selecting the location of data, right? So it actually shows the location of data source from where we have picked up. Now any point of time, if we have changed the location of our data source, which is actually an Excel file in the background, we can just go ahead and select the updated data location, and Power BI will again fetch the data from that updated location. We will talk about exporting PBIDS file and permissions in our upcoming videos. For now, let's get back to the home ribbon again. So manage parameter, again we will talk about this in the future. Let's move to the column section. Now where it says choose column, so what we can do, we can, for example, we have a number of columns in this orders table, and we don't want all of the columns to be appearing over here. We want just to remove a couple of them. So we can go ahead and select choose columns, and it will open a window. We can maybe uncheck the column that we don't want. For example, I don't want this customer ID, city, state. We can just click OK, and those columns will go away, and Power BI will add a step that I have removed couple of columns. Alright, and if you don't want, maybe we can just delete this step and those columns will be back again. Similar to that, if you want to go in a specific column, we can just select that and it will directly take us to that particular column. Talking about removing columns, maybe we can select a particular column which is selected and select remove, that will be removed. Or maybe I can select one column and say remove all other columns except the one that I have selected, right? So again, let me undo those changes. Alright, talking about keep rows. So in the keep rows option, we get a couple of options. For example, maybe we can keep top rows. If we want to keep top 10 rows and delete everything else, then we can do that, right? Similarly, we can maybe keep bottom rows or maybe a range of rows. For example, maybe from 10 to 15 I want to keep and rest I want to delete. I can do that, right? So it will be deleted straight away. Let me again delete that step. In similar fashion, removing rows, so maybe we can remove top rows in the bottom rows or remove alternate rows, or these are the options through which we can remove unwanted rows that we don't want them into the data, right? Now let's talk about a split column. So these are the couple of options that you must have done while working in the Excel file. So in order to split a column, we can split any column by delimiter, maybe by a character, maybe by any character position, or also maybe by lowercase or uppercase, or maybe by digits, non-digit characters. So for example, let's say there is an order ID column that I want to split. Let me just make a duplicate. So now I have got a duplicate column and I want to split that. So I'll just go ahead and select split column and let's select by delimiter. So you will notice Power BI has identified that it has this delimiter. If I can go ahead and just click on OK, it will create those additional columns with order ID copy 1, copy 2, copy 3, and this is like split columns. And if you want, we can just go ahead and rename those columns. So maybe I can say it order ID state, I can say it order ID year, and so on, right? But again, let me just delete that because I don't want these to be split at this point in time. Alright, we will talk about group by and merge rows and merge queries and append queries in our upcoming videos, and obviously this analytics and Azure machine learning kind of advanced option at this point in time. So let's talk about our initial problem statement. So initially the problem we had in our data, we were not getting those column names, we were not getting those column headers over here. So we can go into people sheet, and over here there's an option that says use first row as header, because those headers are actually in the first row. Now in a situation if they were in any other rows, then we can utilize that option of removing rows. So if, for example, if our header is on the 8th row, then maybe we can say remove top 7 rows, right? So header will eventually come on the top. But in this case, we can straight away say use first row as a header, and you would notice headers are updated now. Similarly, we can go into returns and say use first row as header. Alright, so it is fixed now. So once we are done making changes into the data, all we can do, there are 3 options. Maybe we can close, all the changes will be lost and this query editor will be closed. Maybe I can click on apply, changes would be applied, but we will continue on this query editor window. Or I can click on close and apply, so changes would be applied and this query editor would be closed again. So let me just click on that, and you would notice that Power BI has started making some processing. It is applying those changes, and once it is done, you would notice now we have got the column header names. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope there was not too much to absorb in a single video. We will continue to talk about transforming data in Power BI as we go into the advanced option. We will cover all of the topics. So I hope you like the content. If so, please hit the like button and do not forget to subscribe my YouTube channel to stay up to date on any latest video that I upload as a part of Power BI Beginner to Pro Crash Course tutorial series. Thank you for watching. Keep learning. Have a great day.